That is really his name. I'm not making that up.
You are, yeah, that's my real name. Yeah, fellow socialists. All right.
Yeah,
So you traveled all the way from there to here. Okay.
It would be stupid to nationalize small business rather than giving small business advantages denied them by big capital.
So you want to continue the conversation?
No, just to make the point. Just to make the point.
Listen.
If the working class comes down hard.
Kulaks. Are kulaks small businesses or not? Kulaks. You know who they were, right?
Yeah.
So who were they?
The kulaks were, technically, they were peasants who employed other peasants year-round. And
small businesses, right? Small businesses.
And they were pretty much left alone by the Bolshevik government until the collectivization under Stalin, in which Stalin called everybody a kulak, whether they were or not.
You know what's funny? To sum it up, every single so-called, you don't like calling it socialism or communist
I use both those words.
Or whatever,
Socialism, communism,
because they're really
call it both.
They're really meaningless. They're meaningless in a sense that there is a true definition of the system that they always had. All the so-called socialist communist countries, and it's called totalitarian dictatorship. All of them, with no exception.
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
Were they then the same as the three totalitarian right-wing dictatorships in Europe? Fascist Franco-Spain.
Well, first of all, who said that fascists are right-wing?
What?
Who said that the fascists are the right wing? I mean, this is the name
of Spain. That's why they finance them.
But why would you call Nazis, which stands for National
Socialist?
Socialist
Workers' Party, German Workers' Party.
So
because fascists
you should
lie.
Say that.
Because fascists lie. Do you disagree with that?
And the communists don't. No,
many people who say they are communists lie also.
What I disagree with when it comes to terminology is the usage of the words. I mean, Nazism, for instance, or socialism.
They call themselves Nazis. I'll call them Nazis.
Okay, whatever, Nazis. Because there's a common denominator for all of them. Common denominator is dictatorship.
No, the common
all
denominator.
All of them were the dictatorship. Totalitarian regimes.
No,
all of them.
The common denominator for Stalinism in Russia, fascism in Italy, Nazism in Germany, Phalangism in Spain, and Chiang Kai-shek in Taiwan, the common denominator for all of them was a counter-revolution that took away whatever rights the workers and minorities had won. You're not disagreeing that the Nazis took away the rights that workers had, unions, religious freedom. He took away those rights. Hitler took away those rights, okay? Stalin took away pretty much the same rights in Russia.
Stalin was worse than Hitler, that's for sure.
In some ways.
In all the ways, he was worse than Hitler.
And here's why.
Every single way he was worse than Hitler.
Well,
even though we're talking about the same scale, but if we take that part of the scale...
He killed fewer Jews. However, he committed genocide against any number of nationalities. The Crimean...
Stalin. I know. That's why I'm saying he's worse. Yeah, he's worse.
Germans,
he's worse than Hitler. I know.
Here's why Stalin was worse.
Yeah.
Here's why the counter-revolution of Stalin in Russia was worse than the counter-revolution of Nazi Germany. Because the counter-revolution of Nazis in Germany took away the rights that workers and minorities had won under capitalism.
But do you agree both of them are dictatorships?
Of course.
Okay, so that's the common denominator.
No. The common denominator, again, the Stalin counter-revolution took away not just the rights workers won under capitalism.
But I'm sorry for interrupting you. But the bottom line is that when we talk about small business, I mean, that's why we parted ways at Union Square. Now we're back at City Hall. Is that I told you, I'm a small businessman.
Which field?
If you want furniture, wholesale, importer,
okay.
If you want to take my business over, I'm going to fight you. I'm going to burn my business. So when we talk about historical, it doesn't matter what you say. Oh, we're gonna ask workers, to respect you.
No. I'm going to say this.
Yes.
From 1917, call it 1918.
Okay.
To 1927 or 8.
29.
No,
new economic policy.
20, yes. Well, the new economic policy was pretty much wiped out by 28. under the so-called first 5-year plan, which didn't plan much.
Okay.
Be that as it may, small business did not face nationalization during those years.
Kulaks, small
Again,
peasants
They,
who were feeding the country.
I said
That's why there was famine. There was famine over there.
again,
Because of that.
I said between 1917 and 1928. Between those years, in fact, small businessmen were not touched.
Okay.
Many big businessmen ran their own factories.
2014. You want to implement so-called socialism, and you promise me you're not gonna harm me. Do you think I'm gonna believe you?
Obviously not. A lot of people.
So.
A lot of people that went through Russia. Now, here's my experience with my
Yes.
co-workers at the transit.
Yes.
In New York City subway.
Yes.
There's a lot of Russians and Ukrainians. Well, okay, I guess even the Ukrainians, culturally they're Russian, ethnically they're Jewish.
Most of them are Jewish, exactly.
And they pretty much, from my conversations with them, those aged 50 and above,
Yes.
they agree with Stalin about Trotsky and Trotsky about Stalin. That's my impression of them. They agree with Stalin that Trotsky was a no-good son of a bitch. And they agree with Trotsky that Stalin was a no-good son of a bitch. They agree. Stalin said Trotsky was a terrible dictator.
Most of these people
that.
lived through Brezhnev years, the whole stagnation years.
But they got indoctrinated about Stalin and about Trotsky. They got indoctrinated about Stalin and Trotsky, both, by mildly critical Stalinists.
I'm not gonna split hairs.
That's who ran the country.
Because they're all dictators.
The country
all
was
of them.
run by people like Brezhnev, who got their first big job under Stalin, and who from time to time would admit that Stalin made mistakes, but he didn't like to talk about Stalin's mistakes much because he was one of Stalin's mistakes.
And now Putin wants to whitewash the crimes of Stalin and rehabilitate him.
Yes.
Isn't that great?
In the name of Holy Mother Russia and the Church, which to me proves that in fact all this talk about, well, what's bad about Stalinism or communism is it's atheistic. It doesn't have to be. Obviously, a statist authoritarian regime in Russia does not have to be atheistic, and in fact, it will help them stay in power. The church will help them stay in power.
Yeah, but it didn't happen. Well, anyway, nice talking to you.
Okay.
I'm sure you're going to fail. I'm sure that my business is going to be successful as it is right now. Thank God.
Well, if it's just you and you're not exploiting the labor of others, people need furniture.
Hey,
You give
what's
a
up?
good deal.
Good. And you?
Good.
Mr. Union. Mr. Union, man.
Mr. Union.
All right.
So, did you get our leaflet?
It's a 9-year contract. It goes up after de Blasio.